Hey there, boys and girls. Today I'll be doing Scorn of the Venomous Vines of Death. We need to use no items, deal lightning damage to an enemy, beat it within 25 turns. We're taking Tefares with us this time. Kind of going to talk about my comp a little bit, maybe some of the substitutions that you could make, and some of my gearing choices on some of these units. I do feel like this is probably the best support team that can be taken for this fight. I feel like Cecil's pretty strong here, especially with his personal mitigation that he does. I think Mirage is extremely handy for this fight. This is kind of like the tip of the iceberg that comes with a lot of the Mirage being used in a lot of trials in this game. So that's why we're taking Riku. Warrior Light has really strong general mitigation on his cooldown. This boss does a considerable amount of damage, especially that preemptive dot. It really hurts. So we want as much defense as possible to start the fight off. Once that kind of cycles through, and then it goes to we've had our breaks up, and then it starts putting that dot on, it's going to hurt a lot less. But on the onset of the trial, the damage is pretty high. With Riku, you'll notice I have Reflect Ring on, and I've got a Genji shield on for death immunity. The reason for that is this boss has a mechanic called Freeze Prey, and then the secondary part of that is Swallow. So on one turn, it's going to use Freeze Prey. It's going to put this little circle around your character. It's random target, and then on the following turn, it will kill that target. Now, the other thing that it does is put Reflect on that character. So that's how the boss basically tells who it's going to kill, is that Reflect buff. You can manipulate the targeting of that by wearing Reflect Ring or hardcasting Reflect onto a death immune character. When this boss gets a little bit lower in health, like sub 40%, it'll start doing that ability twice. So, it's still advisable to have Carbuncle equipped on a unit so that you can cast a Reflect to another death immune party member. So if you're playing a little bit slower on the damage, you may need a second death immune character, and you may need to kind of keep in mind that you'll have to be casting a Reflect with a character to the second death immune character as well. Just putting it out there. I won't be doing that. I feel like one death immune character is going to be fine for the amount of damage that we're going to be putting out. Other than that, Riku has high hit points, defense, and spirit. We're taking Warrior Light, like I said, because his general mitigation is really strong. He's passive provoke, full evade. I put a dual cast on him, but I don't think we'll be using any heals from him on this one. I'm taking Cecil as my magic tank. I think Charlotte would work just fine. I like the defense and spirit buff that Cecil gives me on the onset for this. His personal mitigation, his stance dance thing that he does is pretty strong for this fight. His magic mitigation cooldown lasts 2 turns. When you push a threshold, you're going to be taking magic damage. If you push multiple thresholds, the boss will do it back to back. So having 2 turns of magic mitigation is nice. I don't think it's absolutely required, but I do think it's really handy. I'm taking Lena for this fight, mainly because she can fill Rain's Limit Burst back up with one of her cooldown abilities. I want to be doing some back-to-back Limit Bursts, just try to get the boss killed as fast as possible. I did put Death Immunity on her as a backup. It's more of a gearing suggestion. It's not something that you'll probably see me doing in the fight, casting a Reflect to her. But I put it on her anyways, just so you guys would be mindful of that. Lena's also good because she gives us a status immunity. This boss is going to be doing stop and things like that, so Lena's just really handy. In general, like I said, high hit points, high defense, high spirit on all your guys. This is my King Rain, 2700 attack. He's got a shit ton of plant killer. I want to kill all the plants. Really well geared Rain. My DPS, I felt comfortable with around 14k hit points, 600 defense. His spirit is a little on the low side. I would like to have around 500. I couldn't hit that, in this Epine build, so I'm going with 363, and we'll say it's all right. Rain does have guts, which is really handy for surviving. My friend right here, geared pretty much the same way, probably a little bit less on the plant killer, which should be fine. Rain does a ton of damage on this fight, but he has the hit points and defense, which I think is pretty much the most important part of this. Let's give it a go. It's a lot of talking. I feel like depending on what kind of team you take to this fight, it gets a lot harder. I feel like this team kind of makes this fight a lot easier. As you can see, the boss puts that preemptive dot on us. It really hurts. So I'm not even going to do anything with my damage units at the start of the fight. I'm just going to have them defend. I could let them die and be re-raised. I'm just going to let them defend. And I just kind of want to show how much damage is actually going out. So then Riku will give us a Mirage and break the boss. Warrior Light is going to come down here and give us a general mitigation. And then Cecil is going to give us a defense and spirit buff and magic cover. And Lena's just going to give us immunity. and give us our delayed stuff. And you'll see right here how hard this dot ticks on our reins, and they're defending. So they go down to like 2k hit points. Riku almost died right there. So when I was saying earlier about, you know, there's a ton of damage that goes out early on in this fight, that's why. There again, that's why the barrage goes off. That's why that mirage is very important. That could have taken out some characters if we didn't have that mirage right there. So if you're not taking Riku, just kind of be mindful of the damage that goes out. Let's see here. On turn 2, I want to go ahead and do a lightning imbue and a barrier. In this rain, you can do a lightning imbue. I guess you can do a barrier too. Let's just do all the barriers. Oh man, always happens when I'm making a video. So we'll send that off. The barriers are very nice to, you know, kind of mitigate some more of the damage. Like I said, that dot's going to be ticking on us, you know, pretty hard right here. And then with Lena, let's do pure healing. That's going to be a region. It seems like we're pretty good on hit points right here. You could have Riku use like her cooldown to do some more region. Or more healing with her, or you could do it with Cecil. It doesn't really matter how you get it. I'll just do an LB fill and another Mirage. We'll defend Warrior Light. I think Cecil's pretty good too. We'll just do his personal mitigation and a cover. So that dot ticked all the way down to proc Guts on Rain. I did have that in mind. Another thing you could do right there is just defend Rain one more turn and take like an extra turn to get into your damage rotation. I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. He did the freeze prey. Again, that's not something I'm worried about because we've got the reflect ring. But if you don't have that item, you would want to get a casted reflect to a damage or to a death immune unit. And we'll go ahead and use Soul Blood and Complete Awakening. Soul Blood and Complete Awakening. We'll get Riku to use her. I'll just do her healing. I won't use her Limit Burst. We'll just stick with the breaks that we got. Do a Mirage and points in E. Let's have Lena do her delayed stuff. Warrior Light can just defend. Like I said, I'm leaving Warrior Light's slot open right there just in case you have to cast a reflect. And then we'll just dance back with Cecil. So basically we've survived, you know, the initial damage of this fight. Now all the damage is going to go out, specifically the dot is going to come, you know, after the boss is broken, so it's going to do a whole lot less damage. Alright, let's get Rain's Limit Burst ready. And fire this off, see where we end up at. I would like to be around 30%, 21% is even better. That tells me that I could definitely get a kill the next turn. So we'll use Lena's other cooldown. That's going to do an LB fill on everybody else. I think we're fine with Riku right here. So we'll just do, I guess, an LB fill buff and a Mirage. We'll defend Cecil. And defend Warrior Light. And with Cecil, we'll do a magic cover. And I want to get a magic mitigation buff out. Remember, like I said, the thresholds are going to happen. We're trying to mitigate as much damage as possible. You'll see it's like some bubbles that go up. That's the magic. I think it's called Vial or something like that. There's an AoE. Vial right there. That's the threshold attack. But since we have his cooldown, it doesn't hurt as bad. Alright, let's just make sure we're topped off with Lena. We'll get Rain's Limit Burst ready. Should finish this guy off right here. And like I said, if you're not taking Lena, just power up Rain again. Take an extra turn. You've got this. So now we go into the second phase of the fight. You're going to have, what is the Malboro Queen and her little babies. There's no preemptive dot this time, so the incoming damage on the initial's not as bad. You still want to get as much protection as possible on your team. So we'll use Mirage and a break. We'll get Cecil to a defense and spirit buff and cover. Warrior Light will do his mitigation. We'll power up Rain. Right off the bat this time, I'm going to be using like fire damage this turn. The Queen is weak to lightning, but the babies are they're neutral. So I'm just going to go with fire. Soul Blood, Complete Awakening, Blaze Saber. We're basically going to have the same type of like damage philosophy on this part as we did this first part. Awakening and Blaze Saber. Make sure we have Queen targeted. Send those Rains off, and we'll just get immunity with Lena. I think is like another like, I don't want to give like information overload right here, but if you're going to go deep into this fight, like many turns into this fight, like maybe try to keep a re-raise on Cecil. I found that when I was testing this fight on JP, if I lost my magic tank, this fight was really hard to recover. So definitely prioritize like, trying to keep him alive. All right, let's fire off Rain's Limit Burst, see how much damage we get. That's pretty good. I'm not sure if we'll be able to follow up with a kill next turn, but we're going to play like we are anyways. Again, it's fine if we don't. Let's do... Yep, LB gauge. Maybe you could do region here as well. I'm not terribly concerned with that. We're full on hit points, so not a whole lot for Riku to do. We'll just do an LB fill and a Mirage. We'll defend Cecil. Or defend Warrior Light. And with Cecil, let's do a cover and a magic mitigation buff. Basically the same rules apply with the Queen that applied to the first Malboro. We pushed multiple thresholds, so we'll be taking that vial. Alright. Not too bad. Let's see what we got in terms of damage. Send Rain off. See if we can get a kill right here. Might be close. Hey, we got it. Nice. So there you go. Tefares is very well geared. Obviously, he's not as geared as well as I am. So don't feel like you've got to go like absolute ham on your gear to get this boss killed. He's got like one killer and he's got Ifrit equipped. Whereas, I've got more plant killer. So that's what I was saying earlier. If you want to get more defensive with your team, that's totally fine. Just make sure you don't forget to do the lightning damage at some point. I chose to do it on the first part of the fight, and then kind of forget about it on the second part of the fight. I didn't test this if the lightning imbue would actually one-shot the little lads. I just kind of went with fire. It was the initial idea I had, so I went with it. So that's about that for that fight. I might do some more clears like later on through the week on this. Probably let this be my only clear for tonight. I hope you guys learned a little bit from it. Good luck with this fight on your own. We certainly have tons of good damage options for this fight. Another thing I could kind of throw out to you, Warrior Light has Holy Imperil. Cecil has a Holy Imbue. You could take advantage of that if you wanted to forego self-imbuing with the character and just go with holy damage. Just make sure you get that lightning in there for the mission credit. But anyways, hope you guys liked the video. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Toodaloo.